Okay, my friends, here it is. The video that is going to explain to you everything you need to know in order to successfully utilize mulches in the garden. So I'm going to say some things about it, and then I'm going to take you out into the garden and show you exactly what I'm talking about with clear-cut examples of all 5 types of mulch that we will discuss in this video. But first, you have to understand, why would we have a mulch in the first place? Why not just do it the way that the industrial ag does it and just till everything up and then leave the soil exposed? Well, a mulch is highly beneficial. Primarily, it does 4 things. 1, it's going to help to retain moisture in the soil. Even moisture is so important, guys. The microorganisms are aquatic, and so they need the soil moisture in order to thrive. So we want there to be a nice, even moisture, and having a mulch is going to buffer between the drying wind and the drying sun and the moisture underneath. So it's going to keep it evenly moist. The second thing it's going to do is it's going to block out the sunlight, and that is going to help the microorganisms to thrive. The ultraviolet light will kill the microorganisms. It bakes the soil, as I'll show you an example of here in a moment, how it bakes the soil and you see it get cracked and all kinds of stuff. So we want to keep that ultraviolet light excluded from the surface of the soil, just like nature does. The third thing the mulch does is it's going to keep the root zone cool. Guys, this is so important. Plants can actually take pretty hot ambient temperatures, but very few plants can take a boiling hot root zone. So I see this so often with raised beds and containers and just regular gardening, in the ground gardening, is that people have a baking hot root zone, and that is why their plants are struggling. They'll think that it's nutrient deficiencies, they'll think that it's pest issues, but really it's just root zone stress came from the sun baking down on the raised bed or on the earth or the container, whatever it is. The mulch, properly applied, is going to keep it nice and cool. Now, the fourth thing is that it's going to exclude the weeds. Now, the weeds are a massive, massive issue when you're doing gardening because they can overtake the entire place. But with the appropriate amount of mulch at the right time, you will see in the video that the mulch will help to exclude the weeds. So let us get right into it. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, my friends, so we are out here in the garden, and as you can see, it is that time of year where all of the weed seeds have begun to sprout and things are starting to get overrun with the weeds. And so for that reason, we have to do a run through of the entire garden. So here we are looking at some Mexican sunflowers on the left and the right, and some marigolds. Now, all of the weeds at this point have sprouted and are well growing, so we need to pull them out by the root. Now, if you do what we're about to do one solid time in the season at about now, then you're not going to have to do it again for the rest of the season. So at this time, you also want to thin out anything that needs thinned. So here we have the Mexican sunflowers. You see there's way too many of them in there. So we need to thin it down to look more like this, so that there's only about 3 or 4 of them instead of 15 of them. That will help the health of all of the plants involved. So after we thin it, we are going to put down that mulch. And when we put down the mulch, we want to make it nice and thick, because this is the last time we're going to be doing that. Get it in there, move it around so that the final product is going to look like this. Look at this, guys, nice and clean. This is, we got 3 of the Mexican sunflowers, Tithonias. Down there, we've got this mulch, which is going to settle in real nice over the upcoming days and weeks and several months. And you can see here the giant Indiana coxcomb, the fish pepper, and the Thai bird chili dynamite peppers. They're all getting going. So we have this whole section weeded now, and you can see we're going to use the straw. In Indiana, straw is cheap and plentiful. So for that reason, we are going to lay it down thick. And when we lay it thick, we want to make sure that we don't skimp, because this is the last time we're going to lay the mulch down. And you can see here that it has really helped to clean the place up, because the weeds got pulled and then immediately we put down the mulch, and that is really going to help things. Now, here's one alarming thing. The sweet potato leaves are bigger than I would want them to be. That signals maybe too much nutrients. But anyways, here is, if you're going to amend, this is very important. If you're going to amend the soil, then you want to pull back the mulch. Here we have some of the Viking granular nutrients, and we are just watering it in to these cucumbers. And then we're going to put down a thick, heavy layer of mulch like this. And watering in the amendments, whether it's manure or compost or Viking granular. You water that in, activate it, and then put the mulch on top of it, and those microorganisms are going to digest that stuff, and those cucumbers are going to love that. Every time it rains, it's going to carry some of them nutrients down into the root zone. They are going to love that. So look closely here, guys. This is what happens when you leave the soil exposed to the sun, the blistering sun, for several weeks now, and it is cracking the soil, drying it out, and also annihilating the microorganisms that want to hold the soil together. So we do not want that. Now here is the before picture of the crops and the soil and the pathways and everything. That needs to be fixed immediately. And so as you can see here now, everything is nice and covered in a thick layer of the mulch, and that is going to help to conserve the soil moisture. That's going to help to block the ultraviolet light from destroying the microorganisms, and these cucumbers are going to overtake this entire thing here before long. And then look here, these are the Kahari melons just starting to climb, and these are the Maduras melons that have been climbing, and they're doing really well. Look, I have a goldfinch come and peck at these leaves every day. So keeping everything covered is going to eliminate a lot of the issues, and they'll have everything that they need, like these tomato plants right here. You can see these Cherokee purples have a wonderful fruit set, and that is because they have thick layers of mulch, and they're not cracking because they have even watering. That's another benefit of the mulch, is the even watering. If you have cracking tomatoes, they need more even, consistent moisture. So next thing is going to be cardboard. Yes, guys, you can use straight up cardboard. Now, I'm going to show you on a very small scale, but you can, and I have done whole gardens with just this cardboard, or whole rows, whole sections of the garden if you want. But for example, right here, we just pulled the flowers out of this area. We had calendula flowers in here. We just tore it all up like that, and we are going to put down some of this heavy cardboard like this. Now, one good thing about working with cardboard is that you can tear it and form it to go around stuff pretty easily. You see, like this, you can just mold it to exactly what you need, like that, and it's going to block out the light. It's going to keep everything dark. Now, the big thing about cardboard is keeping it secure. If you can secure it, then you're good to go. So here, we're going to secure it with some pavers and a Jolly Jester marigold. Thank you to whoever made that suggestion. Now, you can plant directly into the cardboard, whether it's this scale or a bigger scale. You just get it a little bit wet, use a bulb planter like this, and plant something in there, Jolly Jester marigold or whatever it is, and backfill it. So you can plant right into the cardboard, and the whole section of the garden can be weed free except for where you put the plants. That is a really good method. So long as you can get the right amount of cardboard, and then you just give it a little bit of watering, and so long as it doesn't blow away in the wind, you have to make sure it's secure. It's going to work really well, even on a big scale. So the next thing is grass clippings, and to be quite honest, if I had the capabilities, meaning like a big field and a bagging rider lawnmower, I would just use grass clippings, because its ability, it's much finer than straw, and it can form a nice thick tight mat, while also allowing the plants like these onions that are just starting to bulb up, it's allowing them to expand as they need to. So, and it nourishes the soil because it's high in nitrogen. And so grass clippings are really my favorite of all. I just don't have access to them at this point, not in the quantities that I would need. So straw is so much easier and more plentiful in Indiana. But if you do use the grass clippings, it's wonderful to use for containers. So here we have another Jolly Jester marigold that I just nestled into the leaf mold, which I would explain later. But then we're just going to put a thick layer of that grass clippings on each of the containers. It's very important to keep that sun from baking down on things. So we're going to put a thick 1 or 2 inch layer of the grass clippings. We're going to water it in, and that is seriously going to help buffer and cool things down. So the next option is landscaping fabric, and the fabric is like a plastic except it's woven, so air and water and nutrients can penetrate. So this is a really good option if you have a large space to do, because it's commercially available, and you can just burn holes like this with a torch. You can burn holes and put the plants directly into there, and you can see these big fat sweet Lesia sweet peppers are doing really well because it serves as a wonderful mulch. If we didn't have this mulch, this whole thing would be overrun with this quack grass. And so that can be a really good option if you need a larger space. Now, deciduous leaves. Look at this wonderful, beautiful zinnia. Deciduous leaves are a great source of mulch. Some things will come up through it, yes, but you can just put more mulch on top, and it's going to nourish the soil. So the thing you want to remember about the leaf mulch is that you actually plant into the soil underneath the mulch. Remember that. No matter how thick the mulch is, you will plant in the actual soil underneath. And that's going to help to keep it cool. That's going to feed the fungi and all kinds of good stuff. So here is what the garden looked like before, guys, and this is, we're at the point where the weeds have sprouted. So now we can go through and really hit it hard and make it so that the weeds disappear for good when we cover it with this mulch like this. And doing this is gonna give everything that the plants need all for the rest of the year. We're not gonna have to do this again. That's why we did it so thick. This is going to buffer the moisture. This is going to block out the light. This is going to make the microorganisms thrive a lot more. The earthworms are going to be eating this. And it's going to be just in time for the fall garden, which is up and coming, my friends. Look how good this stuff looks. So there you go, my friends. That's everything you need to know in order to successfully utilize the mulch. So hopefully you guys are getting on the aerated compost tea train. I'll direct you to this video right here so that you can learn everything you need to know for a thriving garden with the tea.